And so a huge welcome to you all to MGB227 Entrepreneurship. I'm very excited to be able to offer this unit at QUT. I've taught the essence of this unit elsewhere in Australia maybe 10 or 15 times over the last 10 years. And so I'm really excited that we're going to have our first intensive entrepreneurship unit at QUT. So think yourself lucky. You're going to be the first students who go through it. My challenge is to make sure that I bring a format for you that'll get you engaged, get you excited, and hopefully when you finish the unit you'll say, hey, that was a lot of fun. That was a lot of fun. And the amazing thing is we learned some really cool and neat stuff along the way, stuff that you can apply in your everyday life as you go forward. So that's my aim, to make it very practical and very useful to you. In terms of the logistics of the unit, we've got a Saturday and a Sunday at the end of week 3. We've got a Saturday at the end of week 8 and another Saturday at the end of week 12. Now, we can have a bit of flexibility on the Saturdays in week 8 and 12, okay, and we'll talk about that in our first intensive, but there's not a lot of flexibility at all, if any, in that first weekend. We really need you to come along and be present and be a part of that. And I appreciate there'll always be certain reasons why someone might not be able to get there because they're genuinely sick and they're this and that. I'll tell you what, if you treat me straight down the line and you're honest about your situation and you come and talk to me before the class, I'll be honest and upfront and supportive of you too, all right? So if there's 300 students in this unit, I suspect there might be 1 or 2 students who are going to say, I've got this to do. Now, we're not interested in you saying, well, I've got my mate's party to go to or I've got this to go to. If you want to enroll in the unit, I'll make sure you have a great time. I'll make sure you learn something really valuable out of the unit, but you've got to come along that first weekend and you've got to make it work for you, all right? If you've got any problems in relation to that first weekend, contact me now. Don't contact me after the weekend. I can't help you if you contacted me after the weekend. It doesn't work that way, okay? Now, I'll give everybody my mobile phone number, right? You can see it. It's right here on the screen, okay? You've got no excuse for not contacting me. You can email me, you can ring me on that number, okay? So it's easy to contact me. I'm very approachable, okay? I'm very understanding, okay? I had a couple of people who've already rung me to talk to me about their circumstances. And listen, if you're in a similar situation where you've got kids to look after, things like that, it's one weekend, so try and find a way to work through that. Having said that, if your kids are at an age where you think you can keep them under pretty good control, they don't have to be perfect, bring them along, okay? Just bring them along, okay? It's not the end of the world, all right? Just bring them along. It's not a normal class. We're not going to be sitting, listening to lectures and staying in our seat. We're going to be moving around and we're going to be doing a whole bunch of stuff which hopefully you're going to bring a lot of energy to make really good. Okay, so how to succeed in this unit? Well, you only have to do one thing in the first instance to ensure that you get off to a really good note. You'll see attached to this communique that you've got, or the communique that brings you this video, you've got another video about the environmental interaction framework, and you've got a PDF file. The PDF file is just another way of describing the same framework. It doesn't have reference to one particular thing, the operational environment, so focus on the video for that, but otherwise they're the same, okay? Slightly different way of communicating it, but saying exactly the same thing. Know it. Know the stuff that's in that. You're going to get a pre-test, which you get access to on Blackboard. That will be before we actually meet for the first time face-to-face. My aim with the pre-test is not to try and give you a hard test. My aim is to make sure that you understand the theoretical base that we're going to use. So think of it this way. Either we could work through a normal semester learning the theoretical base, or you could do the work now before we meet in week 3 and become familiar with it, do the pre-test, and then use it for the rest of the semester, okay? So we've got it all beyond us, right? So we don't need to learn any new ideas after week 3. You just need to be able to use them, okay? So if you want to succeed in the unit, watch the video, read the book chapter that I've given you about the environmental interaction framework, and be really, really comfortable with it, okay? If you're comfortable with all the components that are there, and I'll give you some more guidance in relation to what the questions will focus on in relation to the components, all right? If you're comfortable, then come along and you'll have a great time, all right? You won't have any problems at all. So from the environmental interaction framework, we'll play with that on our first intensive weekend, and then you'll be off to create some value creation strategies, which you will produce and present in the way of a 2-minute YouTube video, okay? The way that'll work is between our first weekend and then when we meet again, which will be the end of week 8, you guys will have produced in your small group, and I don't mind you if you've got people you want to be in a group with, that's fine. My suggestion for you is wait until you arrive and try and find the right people to be in a group with, all right? We might even have some fun trying to work out who wants to be in a particular type of group, all right? If you're in a situation where you've got challenges with time because of your work or your family situation, then let's get you into a group with other people in the same sort of situation. You can do your interaction within the group outside of class. You can do that via Skype, you know, via Facebook, whatever it actually is you want to be using, all right? Some groups will prefer to meet face to face, and others will want to work in different means. I don't mind how you work, all right, as long as you work, all right? So you've got a persuasive communication video to put together, which you're going to be ultimately pitching back to some entrepreneurs who we're going to meet on the Sunday. They're going to tell you the problem they've got, the challenge they're facing, and you're going to try and use this framework, the environmental interaction framework, to try and solve this problem, all right? Along the way, you're going to get some peer feedback, which you will then take on. You'll absorb that, you respond to that, and then by week 12, you'll have refined your video, right? So don't make the video brilliant in week 8 because you've still got more work to do on it, all right? But we'll talk more about that. The other part of the assessment for the unit is very much just about you. And so I'm looking for everyone in the unit to tell me something different about them. So I'm very much interested in transformational learning experiences. So you might be thinking, well, what is a transformational learning experience? Well, a transformational learning experience is when you as an individual, so not the class, but just you, understand something about you that you didn't before the event. And as a result, you have the potential to view the world that you're engaging with in a slightly different way. And so that's my aim. My aim is that as a result of you doing this unit, you will understand something about your entrepreneurial self, and you'll understand what that might mean now for you in the way that you view the world. Hence the notion of the term environmental interaction, okay? Your ability to interact with the environment that you're confronting, okay? So you'll have 3 reflection statements to write for me. They'll be on Blackboard, and I'll give you plenty of guidance on how to go through that process. But I'm always prepared to be vulnerable to you, and I'm looking for you to be vulnerable back to me, okay? There is no correct answer with the personal learning statements, so don't get caught up thinking, what does he want me to say? I just want you to speak from your heart. I want you to be reflective, but we'll talk more about that. So anyway, I'll be 1 in week 3, 1 in 8, and a 3rd one at the end of the unit in week 13, where you can sit back and say, okay, well, as a result of that process, what have I learned overall about myself and my ability to recognize the nature of the world that I want to interact with? That'll do us for now. That gives you an overview of the unit. Focus on the environmental interaction framework, the information I'm giving you there. And secondly, if you perceive there's an issue, a challenge for you in relation to that first weekend, contact me, okay? You've got the phone number. It's already there for you, yeah? So you don't have to go searching and say, oh, I couldn't find you. You can send me a text. You could ring me up. You could send me an email, okay? and we'll try and work through. But we really have very little scope for being able to work around that first weekend. But give me a hoy, talk to me about your challenge. You've got plenty of times to arrange getting time off work and all those other sorts of things. So just talk to me and let's see where we actually are with that. Ultimately, when it gets to weeks 8 and 13, it's more about your group being able to manage that time. Okay, if you're all contributing to the group, but someone can't make it to the actual workshop, it won't be the end of the world, as long as we don't have one person from your group who's been told to turn up because everyone else wants to have the weekend off. That doesn't work. Okay, there needs to be genuine reasons, and you need to let me know what that process is. Okay. Anyway, I'm really excited to see you guys. I like to do fun things. In past classes, we've sung songs collectively as a class. I'm not really sure what we'll do this time. We'll just sort of test the vibe and see how things flow through. But I can guarantee you this. I won't take a weekend of your precious time away from you and not give you back some fun and energy and excitement along the way. So come along with a great attitude and you'll do really well. Cheerio.